All right, guys, it's Paul Singh, the Market Speculator with bullsonwallstreet.com. Look at all these fantastic charts. Big tech has been on fire, leading the market. SPY is testing its all-time high, but the Qs, the NASDAQ, is actually breaking to highs, and the reason is big tech is leading the market. So when I talk about big tech, I'm talking about Google, Netflix, Amazon, Facebook, Apple, Tesla. And then we could throw in some stocks like NVIDIA, AMD, which is actually gapping down today on earnings. But of course, Microsoft, which I don't tend to trade too much because it doesn't tend to be as volatile. But all these guys here are the big tech leaders. And if we look at the charts, we're seeing these huge uptrends. And not only are we seeing uptrends, we're seeing big breakouts at the end of these uptrends. So really strong market here for big tech, and we can go through here. Most of them have had their earnings already. At least the FANG stocks all have. And then we've got Apple reporting today, which is going to be huge. And we've got Tesla reporting tomorrow. So some key earnings coming up, and we've already had 4 of them in the books. And let's take a look at them here. If we see Google, it was already extended going into earnings, and bam, big breakout. Netflix actually had a bad reaction earnings, even though earnings were good, but has completely reversed that, and that's even stronger. It's one thing to have a great earnings reaction, but when you have a bad earnings reaction and it doesn't continue down, and we see all this space we had to continue down, but completely reverse that, and now is at all-time highs. All these guys are all at all-time highs here. Amazon here, big earnings, holding that earnings level, all-time highs again, and then Facebook, same thing, broke that key psychological 150 level as well. So really strong here, and now Apple is breaking all-time highs even before earnings, and we'll see how that reacts today. And then Tesla looking really strong here. Over the past few months here, since this December bottom has gone from about 180 to 320. And NVIDIA has pulled back in up here, but has remounted the key 50-day moving average and might be ready to not only make a run to highs, but potentially break those highs. So now the question is, we've had this fantastic run. What do we do going forward? And this week, we're basically waiting for setups to emerge. We don't have any right now. So let's focus on the stocks that have already reported, because we can't trade Tesla and Apple until they report. And once they do, we use our earnings breakout strategy. And there's a number of different setups we trade. And we can also look at NVIDIA with these FANG stocks here. So what am I looking for with these FANG stocks? Now, let's start with Netflix. Netflix broke to all-time highs here and has made a run from 148 to 155. Tough to enter at this point. So what I'm looking for here is a pullback to this range, basically the high range or the 9, and then I want to see if it holds that level. So we're going to be patient here, and we're going to see if we can get a pullback play. Now, if it doesn't pull back deep enough, and let's say it just consolidates in the 152, 153 range, then if it breaks this 155, 156 level, I would enter at that point. Now, there's one other trade that seems counterintuitive. That is, if it continues to run, I'm going to look for a reversal play to potentially short. That would be a very quick trade. I usually do use smaller position size when I'm going against a trend, but that's a possibility. Let's go to Facebook now. Very extended. Maybe we get that reversal and get a quick short in here coming up here. If not, again, pullback. How does it react to a test at 150, a test of the 9, and a test of this open gap? So whichever area it pulls back to, I want to see if it can hold that level. If it can hold that level and start to bounce, I would go in. Google is really extended here. I'm not going to do anything in either direction at this point, but we'll watch for a pullback play to the bottom of the range. That's a classic earnings breakout play. And then if it were to break into the gap level, you could actually short in here, or wait for a test of this range in here and see if that holds. So we got to be patient with these guys. We're not going to jump in. We're going to wait and see if these patterns emerge. Amazon's a little tougher because it had this weird earnings breakout where it closed to the lows, but has recovered here. Watch this key psychological 950 level, and if it ever gets up to 1,000, obviously that's going to be a key level. But a break of 950 could get that run to 1,000, so I'm going to watch that level very closely. If this week, let's say we close at 952, 953, I would look to enter and see if we get that move to 1,000. And remember, guys, just because it's a $944 stock and say you can only buy 10 shares, That doesn't matter. What matters is the percentage gain you can get out of that. Finally, NVIDIA, you could actually enter right in where it is right now as it's remounted and holding that 9 and 50-day moving average. So that's big tech here. This should be at the top of your radar, for at the top of your watch list. I'm also watching a lot of the earnings breakouts. If I pull up this list here, EB17, this is a bunch of the earnings breakouts from this quarter that I'm watching, and I'm looking for patterns here that will emerge. Maybe next week we'll talk about that a little bit, but in the trade report, we're watching these things every day. We've got a list of about 10 of them right now that we're looking for setups to enter as potential trades. And you can go on Bulls on Wall Street and go on Swing Trade Alerts section to take a look at joining there. All right, guys, I will see you next week.